You're sitting in your dimly lit room staring at your latest pay stub, doing the mental math of how much you need to survive the month. You finally got the raise you spent 3 years grinding for. You did everything right. Yet somehow, looking at your checking account right now, you feel broker today than you did when you were making less. The extra money didn't buy you freedom. It just bought you a slightly more expensive version of your existing anxiety. The reason you feel like you are running on a treadmill isn't a moral failure. It is because the modern economy is actively engineered to absorb every extra dollar you make. Psychologists call it lifestyle creep. But that sounds too innocent. It is actually a highly optimized system of invisible upgrades. Every time your income bumps up, your baseline for what you consider a necessity quietly shifts. You move from the shared apartment to the one bedroom because you need the space. You trade the reliable used car for the least luxury sedan because suddenly you have an image to maintain at the office. You start justifying the premium subscriptions, the expensive takeout, the convenience fees, all under the guise of, "I earned it." You tell yourself these are rewards for your hard work, but you didn't buy a lifestyle. You bought a new set of golden handcuffs. The insidious part is that it happens so slowly, you don't even realize your cost of living has perfectly mirrored your new salary. You are making more money than you were 3 years ago, but your financial anxiety is exactly the same because now you have further to fall. Let's look at the cold, clinical data. You might think you are immune to this because you budget or because you track your spending, but the financial industry is playing a completely different game. They do not want you to build wealth. They want you to build credit. They want you highly leveraged and dependent. Recent studies show a terrifying reality. Nearly a third of Americans earning over $250,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. Let that sink in. $250,000 a year, and they are one missed paycheck away from a crisis. Why? Because they are drowning in luxury car payments, inflated mortgages, and high-interest credit card debt. All just to project an image of success to people they don't even genuinely like. The system has convinced you that a high income is the same thing as a high net worth. It is not. Income is just the math of how much water is flowing into the bathtub. Net worth is how much water is actually staying in the tub because you had the discipline to plug the drain. If your entire salary goes toward maintaining the aesthetic of wealth, you aren't rich. You are a highly paid indentured servant to your own lifestyle. You are working 50 hours a week just to make the bank richer. The interest payments you make every month on your lifestyle inflation are quietly funding the retirement accounts of the people who actually understand the psychology of money. It is time to stop playing their game. You do not need a new budgeting app. You do not need to obsessively track every $4 cup of coffee. What you need right now is a complete psychological reset. You have to sever the emotional link between your ego and your monthly expenses. The only way to stop bleeding capital is to step off the performative treadmill entirely. Take a deep breath, stare at the black screen, and when we come back, we are going to build the unsexy mathematical reality of stealth wealth. Welcome back to The Quiet. That brief moment of total silence you just experienced, that is exactly what your financial strategy needs to look like. No flashing red and green candles, no dopamine spikes, just a complete clinical detachment from the noise. This brings us to the antidote to the modern performative economy. It is a concept we call the quiet wealth gap. True wealth isn't the German luxury car sitting in your driveway, depreciating by the minute. True wealth isn't the heavy mechanical watch on your wrist that you bought on a credit card to impress your manager. True wealth is the invisible, deliberate space between what you actually earn and what you project to the world. It is the deeply unsexy discipline of making significantly more money and changing absolutely nothing about your lifestyle. You build a concrete wall between your ego and your checking account. When your coworkers are upgrading their leases and moving into luxury apartments because they got a promotion, you are quietly redirecting that exact same dollar amount into a boring automated index fund like VTI. You let them win the performance of wealth while you quietly accumulate the math of it. The quiet wealth gap is where your actual freedom is born. It is the capital that allows you to walk away from a toxic job without panicking. It is the financial buffer that turns an absolute catastrophic emergency into a minor Tuesday inconvenience. You stop trying to look rich and you start actually becoming wealthy. So, how exactly do we build this quiet wealth gap? We do not do it by day trading or watching stock charts like a hawk. We do it through the absolute, brutal efficiency of automation. You need to build the architecture of stealth wealth. Think of your capital like a train moving through a dark underground tunnel. It doesn't care about the weather outside. It doesn't care about the noise of the city above or the panic of the performative economy. It just moves forward on its tracks, methodically and inevitably. That is exactly what your money needs to do. Instead of relying on sheer willpower to save what is left at the end of the month, because let's be honest, there is never anything left, you automate the extraction. On the very same day your paycheck hits, a predetermined amount is automatically routed away from your checking account and directly into a broad market index fund. You are essentially taxing yourself before the consumer machine can get its hands on your capital. You buy the entire market and you hold it forever. You turn your wealth building into a background process, running silently on the operating system of your life. It is completely unsexy. It is mathematically undeniable. You are trading the fleeting dopamine hit of a new purchase for the deep, structural peace of knowing your future is fully funded. You become a financial ghost. So, step away from the screen. Leave the banking apps closed. The truth is, the loudest people in the room are usually the ones carrying the heaviest debt. You do not need to compete with them. The ultimate flex in the modern economy is invisibility. It is the psychological liberation of knowing you could buy the luxury car, but deliberately choosing the index fund instead. You are choosing peace over performance. You reclaim your nervous system. You stop performing for a society that actively profits off of your exhaustion. When you build the quiet wealth gap, you are building a fortress that no economic downturn, no missed promotion, and no algorithm can breach. You let the broader economy do the heavy lifting in the background, while you go out and actually live your life. You stop playing their casino, you stop chasing the dopamine hit of lifestyle creep, and you finally become the house. Stay quiet. Stay disciplined. We will see you in the next session.